Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're going to be doing some Eldlich Zombie World test hands. So I'm really excited for you guys because this deck was actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Awalt. And this deck is a absolutely crazy powerful zombie deck that combines two of the most powerful zombie engines in the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! That being our Eldlich and our Zombie World packages to be able to summon out some insanely powerful monsters to our side of the field, while including also some generic zombie support to back up both of those engines. So, without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell near so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards like getting your name description every single video, getting a signed card to the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron along with test hands. And definitely give Awalt some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So this deck is a really fun deck that summons out some of the craziest awesome like zombie monsters in the entire game, even summoning out the fusion version of our Eldlich the Golden Lord in the form of our Eldlich the Mad Golden Lord, which is a awesome zombie monster sitting at 3,800 attack. And you guys know rule number one, you gotta pile shuffle the deck, because if you don't pile shuffle the deck, then you might brick, and you don't want to brick, and that is dad rule number one, to always pile shuffle. So we're gonna go ahead and pile shuffle the deck and see what we can pull off for our first test hand, because this deck can do some pretty insane stuff. It is a little bit more of a grind deck, so you don't play that many normal summons in the deck, and you're trying to just get some really good setup in what you're trying to do. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle up the deck and see what we can pull off, because you can go into some pretty good plays in your opening hands with this deck. You usually do want to go first because you want to establish those insanely powerful boards. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for our first hand. So we're gonna go ahead and draw into a copy of Unizombie. That's already pretty good. A copy of Gloomba, that's really good. These two comboed, especially if we get like a copy of Banshee that we can send from the deck to the graveyard to get our copy of Zombie World. Gozuki is a really good normal summon as well. A copy of the Eldlich or Scarlet is also very good, and a copy of Cursed Eldlin is a fantastic searcher for the deck. So what we're going to do right off the bat is I'm going to normal summon out the copy of Unizombie and use its effect to increase its level by 1 by sending a zombie from the deck to the graveyard, which we're always going to send our copy of Banshee to then banish the Banshee to activate our copy of Zombie World, because you want to get that card on the field as fast as possible. We're then going to use the effect of our Unizombie again to be able to increase its level to 5. Once you increase its level to 5, you can actually discard a zombie to the graveyard to be able to use its effect. And since our copy of Glowbloom went to the graveyard, you can actually special summon out your copy of your Doom King Ballardrod, which is a pretty powerful effect to be able to just immediately get that card on your side of the field. You can then use the effect once you've activated that copy of your Doom King Ballardrod to put that card on your side of the field. You have some really neat plays as you can go from here. You can actually activate the effect of your Cursed Eldland because it lets you not declare attacks except with zombie monsters, but you can only use the following effects this card once per turn. So you can activate this card to be able to add an Eldlich monster or a Golden Lands card from your deck to your hand. So we're actually going to special summon out from the deck, or be able to add from our deck to our hand, excuse me, the copy of our Conquistador, because Conquistador is a great card to add, and we already have the copy of our Scarlet that we can use later. Now you guys might be thinking that we might end there, but you're actually not going to end there. You have even more plays that you can go into with this setup. So what we're going to do at this point is we're actually going to link summon using these two cards on our side of the field. And once we link summon using these two cards, we're going to summon out from our extra deck a copy of our Needle Fiber. So once we summon out that copy of Needle Fiber to our side of the field, we're then going to be able to summon to our side of the field our copy of our Glow Up Bloom, which is a great card to be able to summon to your side of the field, because once you summon out that copy of Glow Up Bloom off your copy of your Needle Fiber, you're basically going to be totally set up to go in for a Baron play, which is kind of neat. So we're going to go ahead and set both of these cards to our side of the field, and we're going to pass over to the opponent. Now during their standby phase, we're going to get to special summon back our copy of our Doom King Ballardrod because we have that Zombie World in the field spell zone, and then we can use the effect of our Needle Fiber to, in mid-turn against the opponent, to be able to banish something and use its effect to be able to summon out a copy of Formula Synchron, which Formula Synchron is just going to help us out a lot, because then we can synchro summon during our opponent's turn. We're going to draw a card, which is going to be another copy of Doom King Ballardrod, and then synchro summon our level 2 and our level 8 together to go in for our copy of our Baron de Fleur, which is a super powerful boss monster that we can summon to our side of the field. And the reason we actually didn't use this this for a link reroll play is because this card is once per turn, and we have actually already used it, and this card would be banished, so keep that in mind as you're playing, that your copy of Loflin will banish itself for its own effect. So, now that we've done this, you can kind of go ahead and let your opponent go, because you have a negate right here, and you've already had a negate with your copy of your Doom King Ballardrot as well, if you wanted to activate an effect, which is pretty good, along with your copy of your banish a card with your Doom King Ballardrot, which is also really, really good with this deck. So then you can go ahead and activate the effect of your Scarlet during your next turn, because you can't special summon monsters except for zombie monsters, which is a really good effect for the rest of the turn after the Scarlet resolves. So you can, if you want to, activate the copy of Scarlet now. And once you activate the copy of Scarlet, it will lock you into zombie monsters for the rest of the turn, but we're not going to summon anything else but the copy of the Golden Gucci Lord from the deck. I love that nickname for that card. And then now you also have an interruption as well with the copy of the Conquistador that you can activate as well to be able to stop the opponent and banish a card, which is super helpful. So once we go into the next turn, we're going to go ahead and draw into a copy of Unizombie. And then once we do, we can normal summon out that copy of Unizombie to our side of the field. And then if you would like to, you can go ahead and send something from the deck to the graveyard, which we're going to send for its effect to increase its level to 4. We're actually going to send a different card, which is going to be our copy of our Eldlich the Golden Lord, which our Eldlich the Golden Lord is then going to be able to send a spell or trap that we control on our side of the field during our next turn to the graveyard, which is going to be our copy of the Cursed Eldland to be able to bring itself back to your field once you kind of get rid of some cards on the field. So you can actually start link summoning if you want to. We're going to go ahead and link away the copy of the Glowbloom and the copy of the Unizombie to be able to special summon out our copy of our Vampire Sucker to our side of the field, which is going to help us out a lot just to get that monster on the field. And then you can use the copy of the Glowbloom, which will banish itself from the graveyard to special summon out to your side of the field a copy of the Eldlich the Golden Lord, giving us 2 of our Golden Lords on our side of the field, which is already really good to be able to get both of them on our side of the field. And just for style points, let's get the third one out by sending the copy of the Cursed Eldland to the graveyard and special summoning out the last one to our side of the field, getting all 3 of the He Doesn't Care Golden Gucci Lord on our side of the field. This guy looks like he's straight out of a JoJo anime, and I love it. So now that you've got that set up as well, you have the ability to be able to go into more link plays if you want to, or you can just OTK your opponent, which is pretty good. But don't forget about the copy of the Cursed Eldland that when it's sent to the graveyard, if this card is sent from the spell and trap guard zone to the graveyard, you can send any Eldlich monster or a Golden Land spell or trap from your deck to the graveyard. So you can send something like a copy of your Golden Land monster to the graveyard. If you want to send one of those cards to the graveyard, you can just go ahead and send one of them to the graveyard. And then during the end phase, you can just banish your cards and chain them to one another, where you banish this, and you banish this to be able to set exactly what you need to your field. So let's go ahead and banish the copy of Scarlet to be able to go ahead and set to our side of the field another Conquistador, which is going to help us out a lot, just to be able to get that additional Conquistador on our side of the field set. And then let's go ahead and use the effect of our other Golden Lands monster to be able to set a copy of a Scarlet, which will let us special summon out additional zombie monsters, which is pretty good. If you want to clean up the board a little bit, you can, but you're probably going to win at this point, so it really doesn't matter what you do, because you've already got those really insanely powerful plays that you don't really need to do anything else. You can just set these cards to your side of the field, and then you've pretty much got game with all of these monsters. You could, instead of setting your copy of the Conquistador, you could have set your copy of the Gold 7 Cities, and then activated the 7 cities to fuse these 2 monsters together to summon out your copy of the Mad Golden Lord, but you don't really need him, so we're just going to leave it like this and say, hey, we've got the OTK. So let's go ahead and go into the next hand and see what we can pull off. As you guys can see, the deck is super consistent and really amazing. And the really nice thing is even with your Cursed Eldlands on the field, in Zombie World on the field, it says you can only attack with zombies, but it doesn't matter because all of our monsters become zombies with that effect. So it doesn't really come up all that often that you're not going to use that effect. So let's go ahead and shuffle up the deck again and see what we can pull off. Make sure that we didn't put any of our monsters that are from the extra deck in the graveyard, which we did with the Formula Synchron. I knew I was missing something. So let's go ahead and shuffle up the deck and see what we can pull off for the next one. I really love the way this deck plays. It's really consistent. And being able to summon out all 3 Golden Lords like that, definitely give us a like for that one. That was really cool to be able to summon out all 3 Golden Lords. That doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, ooh, it's just right. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle up the deck one more time. We're not going to pile shuffle, just to show you guys how consistent this deck is. And it's just really insane what you can pull off. So we're going to go ahead and draw. We're going to draw into a copy of one of our Golden Lands monsters, 7 cities, a Gozuki, this is already fine, a copy of Baller Draught, and a copy of Zombie World. We have a really good setup right off the bat. So what we're going to do is activate the copy of Zombie World on our side of the field. And then once you do, you're going to normal summon out that copy of Gozuki. Use the effect of Gozuki to be able to activate the effect of your Glow Bloom, because we're going to send that to the graveyard and immediately banish it to be able to summon out from the deck a copy of, let's summon out Golden Lord, because if we summon out the Golden Lord, we can actually get some more plays off in the long term of things. We're just going to immediately summon him. So we're going to shuffle up the deck now. And we have the ability of the 7 cities if we need to, because it has the ability that during your main phase, you can fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck using only zombie monsters from your hand or field as fusion material, which is very nice to be able to summon out the Mad Golden Lord, because since we have a copy of Baller Draught in the hand and we want it out of the hand, which is why I play this card in this deck, we can actually make one of the coolest monsters in the entire deck. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of both of these on our side of the field and in the hand, and we're going to special summon out to our side of the field the Eldlich, the Mad Golden Lord, in defense position, because he can't be destroyed by battle. We're going to then put this card face down. I don't know why this card can't be destroyed by battle. This card is literally sitting at 3,800. Not a lot of cards can take this on, except for like a Utopia double, a copy of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and a 5-headed dragon. That is really weird to see, but it does happen. But I'm really glad it can't be destroyed by battle. So we then go ahead and pass to the opponent, and you can use the effect of your copy of your 7 cities to be able to, or not 7 cities, but the effect of your Eldlich, the Golden Lord, to turn back on your copy of your set card. Because what you're going to do is you're going to send the copy of the 7 cities to the graveyard, special summon out your Golden Lord back to your field, pass over to the opponent, and then during their standby phase, you're going to get your copy of Baller Draught right back on the field. So you basically, all you had to do was give up the 7 cities for the copy of the Eldlich, the Mad Golden Lord, which is why I say this card is such a underrated boss monster in this deck. I love this card in this deck, and it is so powerful and easy to summon if you draw into a copy of any card that can send something to the graveyard, a Zombie World, and a copy of a way to summon out your Eldlich, the Golden Lord. It's super easy to summon, and it's super good in this deck to be able to fusion summon into this card. So when you set this up on your side of the field, you have the effect that you can actually bring out your copy of your Golden Lands dude to your side of the field, and he will be able to banish something from the graveyard, which is pretty good, to be able to just immediately get rid of something, to banish one card from either player's graveyard, which is just a really nice effect to be able to get rid of something from the player's graveyard, because a lot of decks are playing right now are graveyard heavy, so this card comes in very handy. And the effect of Baller Draught also has the ability that he will be able to banish something when a zombie monster effect is activated, or negate the effect of the card that activated, and you can activate both of those effects in the same turn, but you can only activate them once per chain each. So you can only activate, for example, the negate effect in one chain and then the banish in one chain. You have to be different chains. But the really neat thing is this card, the copy of the Mad Golden Lord, because he can't be destroyed. He has the ability that this card's name becomes Eldlich, the Golden Lord, while he's faceable on the field, and he can't be destroyed by battle or by card effects, and you can tribute a zombie monster and then target a face-up monster opponent controls and take control of that card. But it can't attack or activate its effects, but we can use it for link material, which is kind of nice. So with this particular setup, you're then going to pass, and we're going to go again, and we're going to draw into a copy of Unizombie, and that's already crazy. So if your opponent does out anything on your side of the field, you have plenty of room to summon out the Unizombie, and the copy of the Baller Draught is just going to come right back, so you get that play again. But let's say they didn't, and we're going to go ahead and link summon these 2 monsters on our side of the field for the Vampire Sucker all over again. Normal summon out the copy of the Unizombie, use the Unizombie's effect to send our copy of Glow Up Bloom to the graveyard, and then we're going to special summon out from the deck another copy of our Golden Gucci Lord to our side of the field, because you want to summon him to your side of the field as many times as possible, so you can get as many of him rolling as possible, which is just really nice to be able to just get that card over and over and over again. Switch this card to attack position, increase this card's level, switch your copy of the Mad Golden Lord to attack position, switch that copy of your Doom King Baller Draught to attack position, and then this card would actually be banished, and you can go in for game with all these cards on your field. And we consistently summoned out 2 of our Golden Lords again, which is pretty good. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for the next setup, which is just going to be super nice to see if we can get out some insane hands on the next one as well. Because as you guys can see, this deck's really consistent in what it's trying to do. You're trying to swarm the field with zombies while also setting up your traps with your copies of your Eldlich monsters. So you can get into some really, really good plays in this deck as you're playing through with your zombie monsters. So let's go ahead and shuffle up the deck and see what we can pull off for the next one. And the really nice thing, I will show you guys in case we don't draw into it, there is some pretty nice synergy with your copy of Zombie World and your copy of, if you guys don't know this is kind of like a basic zombie play, but if you're new to zombies, this is a really nice play. But Super Poly is a really awesome card in this deck because if your opponent has on their side of the field any two monsters, you can actually fusion summon into this using any two of your opponent's monsters. And then your copy of Rivalry of Warlords, if your opponent controls any monster on their side of the field, like for example, let's just say they control like a Link Rebo, if they're not playing any other zombie monsters, they can't summon anything else because the Rivalry of Warlord says you can only control one type of monster, which each player can only control one type of monster, and you send all their face-up cards you control to the graveyard. Well, Zombie World's making everything zombies, so this card is no longer Cyverse, this card is now a zombie, so now they can't summon anything. So you have these really awesome synergies that are just 2-card little combos with your Zombie World, which is why it's such an important card to get to in this particular deck, because if you can get to that card with just a Rivalry, it doesn't matter what the other 3 cards are in your hand, because once you get to that setup, you've got it. You don't have to worry about anything else that you're going to be able to go into. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for the next one. So we're going to go ahead and draw into a Rivalry of Warlords, a copy of Conquistador, Unizombie, a copy of Rivalry of Warlords, and a Super Poly. Okay, that's pretty good actually. So we're going to activate the copy of Unizombie, and then once we activate the effect of the Unizombie, we're going to increase its level by 1, increasing it to a 4, and we're going to be able to send from the deck to the graveyard. And this is what the combos that I was kind of talking about. We're going to send the Banshee, banish the Banshee, activate the Zombie World, and then once you do, you have everything that you need already set up in your hand to shut down the opponent. So we're going to go ahead and set 3 against the opponent and pass. You don't have to do all the insane plays that we've been doing. Keep this in your hand as a backup if you need it for the Super Poly, and then pass. Once your opponent goes, you can immediately activate the copy of your Super Poly when they put any 2 monsters on the field, and then summon out your copy of your Dragon Necro Nether Soul to your field. And the reason that you wait, and this is another important thing, wait to actually summon or actually activate the Rivalry, because if you wait to activate the Rivalry, like in this situation, you can summon out the copy of the Dragon Nether Soul Dragon. If you don't wait and you immediately activate this at the beginning of their turn, then you're kind of going to back yourself into a corner, because now you can't summon this card onto your side of the field because you already control a zombie, and this card is a dragon. So you have to keep that in mind as you're playing this deck, that you have to keep that in mind as you activate. If you get all 3 of them, it goes Zombie World, Super Poly, then activate the copy of Rivalry, because now this card is a zombie because it exists on the field, which is really nice to immediately interrupt their plays, where now they can only control 1 monster and we have 2 on our field. So now that we let our opponent go, we're going to go ahead and go into our next turn, and we're going to go ahead and draw into a copy of Baller Drop. We're going to go ahead and get rid of that Baller Drop from our hand for the Unizombie to increase its level again. Now, the really neat thing about this setup is you can go in for another play instead of just sending a copy of Glow Up Bloom to get another card, where you can actually go ahead and activate the copy of the Conquistador if you don't have the Rivalry. You can't do this if you have the Rivalry, but if you didn't have the Rivalry, you could synchro these 2 together, because this comes out as a 5 and this is a 5 now. You can then synchro summon into your copy of Baron if you have no Rivalry. But since we do have Rivalry, we're just going to go ahead and send that copy of the Doom King to the graveyard. We're then going to increase its level again to 6, send the copy of our Glow Up Bloom to the graveyard, banish it from the graveyard, and then we get to special summon out our Golden Lord from the deck. And then now, at this point, you can basically use your effect of your Conquistador. And once you use your copy of your Conquistador, it's going to be able to banish something on the field, which is going to help us out, and then we can go in for all sorts of game with this particular lineup and all the different cards we have in the extra deck, because you can just go ahead and link these together if you want to, for a copy of Vampire Sucker, which is going to help us out a lot to go in for that copy of Vampire Sucker, to then revive something back from the graveyard, which is going to give us a draw, which is going to be an Ash Blossom, which can get us even more plays. And then during our opponent's next turn, we're going to get back our copy of Baller Drop in defense position, which is just going to give us another negate and another play. And then also a copy of the Nether Soul Dragon is going to constantly be generating us tokens on our side of the field, which is also pretty good, so we can get those really good plays. Now keep in mind, this card does hurt us a little bit with a copy of Zombie World because we can't summon stuff like our Nether Soul Dragon. We can't summon out our copy of Linkuriboh. We can't summon out Formula, our copy of Needle Fiber, our copy of Baron, our copy of BLS, Starving Venom. It might be easier just to look at the cards that you can summon, which is these three. So it does lock us out of our extra deck where we can only summon 3 cards, but all we really need is these 3 anyways from the extra deck. And if you guys would like to check out the full extra deck, it is down in the description below for the link to the deck profile if you guys would like to check that out. So let's go ahead and do one more shuffle test hand and just see what we can do for one more little bonus test hand and see if we can pull off something really crazy for an easy, simple test hand. Let's see if we can pull off something easy. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle up the deck. Let's give it one more good shuffle and see what we can do for our setup. So we're going to go ahead and draw into a copy of Baller Drot, Unizombie, it's already a good hand, our copy of Scarlet, Conquistador, and Super Poly. This is pretty good because we can already get the Zombie World, activate this card, or normal summon this, increase it to 4, send from your deck to the graveyard. We're going to do this fast. We're going to go ahead and send from the deck to the graveyard a copy of Banshee, banish the Banshee, activate the copy of Zombie World on our side of the field, shuffle up the deck, and then we're going to go ahead and send the copy of our Baller Drot to the graveyard, set 3, and then pass because we can get back our cards later once we have the Super Poly. Our opponent's going to go, we're going to summon out the copy of the Baller Drop. You can save the Conquistador if you want to for the Super Poly. If you want to, activate the copy of the Scarlet to be able to then summon out to your side of the field during your opponent's turn the copy of the Golden Lord. If you want to, you can set the copy of the Conquistador. If you don't, you don't have to. This would actually be a level 5 because we actually sent the copy of the Baller Drop to the graveyard as well as the Banshee. This will summon to our side of the field, or we can use it as a discard fodder for a copy of Super Poly to out 2 of our opponent's monsters to give us that really powerful boss monster of the Dragon Necro Nether Soul. Or we can even use a level 5 zombie that our opponent controls since we have the Super Poly and we have the Zombie World on the field to actually let us summon out our copy of the Eldlich the Mad Golden Lord if we want to summon this instead, which is an option for you as well. So I think that's going to do it for the test hands for this one, guys. This deck is a really insane deck. I'm really glad that Awalt actually suggested this deck because it's a fun deck. I really love the way that it plays. It really is amazing, especially with the new artwork of the Golden Gucci Lord. I love that artwork. He seriously looks like he's from Dojo, and I love that. So I think that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much, Awalt, for actually suggesting this one. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, guys. Hit the bell there so you can come part of the notification squad. If you guys would like to check out the deck profile, it is always down in the description down below for the link for the deck profile. And we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.